Welcome everybody to the Sunday show. Arsenal fan circle here. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome on this wonderful sunny Sunday from here, all the way the east coast of America, and this still remains 4 hour time difference to our neighbours over in Ireland and England. And anywhere you are tuning in you're all welcome. Thought today we would go through some numbers to discuss. I've put some numbers down here. Let me know if they will work out for you eventually. And for lottery numbers, you can use them in your lottery numbers, um, and send any winnings my way. Be most welcome indeed. We'll see if anyone joins us, but if not, I'm prepared to go solo today. Hope you are going to enjoy the show on playback or joining me live here. Get in the chat box, throw in some questions. There's a few things we wanted to go through before next Sunday. And next Sunday we will be um, picking through the remains of that game at the Etihad. Hopefully, it's a pulsating game, and there's nothing to fear. This Arsenal team, there's nothing to fear going to Manchester City. I believe that they will fear us just as much as we'll fear them. Healthy respect, let's say. Let's put it that way. Respect for each other. Respect for the teams that are put out there. And this Arsenal team is constructed now and built in a fashion that will be able to compete at the top level for a number of years to come. And many of our players are reaching their peak now. So nothing to fear going to Man City. The big key point for me this past summer was Declan Rice choosing to come to Arsenal because he saw maybe a path for this team to be good in this next 4 or 5 years. So Arsenal are here. Arsenal are competing, and that's all we can ever ask for is to compete at the top level against teams like Manchester City and Liverpool. And long may it continue. We are not a flash in the pan. We were competing last season. We didn't have the experience to last the distance. And here we are as Arsenal fans coming to the end of this interlull. And, well, the Arsenal team have to show it as well on the field in these coming 10 games. But I believe this team is better than last season, more sustainable. And the last season we fell away with just, I believe it was 4 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses in the last 10 games. So 15 points or thereabouts from 30 available. Not good enough at all. And this Arsenal team is going to have to get 26 or 27 points from the remaining 10 games. And the Etihad game will take on a life of its own. And we will have a more clear idea about where Arsenal are after that game. And win, draw, or loss, it's not over. Obviously, if we lose, you're looking for results. Your City would be 2 points ahead of us. We would have to be near perfect for the remaining 9 games, and we know we have tough away games at Wolverhampton Wanderers, Tottenham, and Manchester United, to mention a few. But I'm not afraid of our away form. In fact, we actually maybe play better away from home. And I'll pose something to Arsenal fans right now. If you have an opportunity to go to the second last game in the season at Manchester United, knowing that a win would secure you the title, because let's face it, Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool playing at home on the last weekend of the season, you would think all three teams are going to beat Arsenal, are going to beat Everton, City are going to beat West Ham, and Wolverhampton Wanderers would be beaten by Liverpool. Yeah, if I give that to you now, go to Manchester United, and you would need to win there to win the title for the first time in 20 years. I think at the start of the season, if I pose that question to everybody, they probably would take your hand, take your whole arm for that. So here we go. Welcome to the Sunday Show. Pull up a chair. You're all invited to the Arsenal Fan Circle channel. Some numbers to discuss, and I'll go through the numbers. Yes, starting on time. Stefan, thanks for being here. We'll see if I have a counterpart joining me. Tony, Alonso, Gary, any one of those. But if not, I'll be here for a little while until we go through these numbers. Okay, the first number is the number 10. And at the start of the season, after 10 games, Tottenham Hotspur were leading the way. They were top of the league after 10 games. Here we are with 10 games to go in the season, and it's not Tottenham that are top of the league anymore. It's Arsenal that are top of the league. So staying power is important in the league. Consistency is important in the league, and that Tottenham team got off to a good start. I remember actually at the start of the season they had easier games. They were winning some games at the death as well. I think they beat Liverpool, but outside of that, they were beating teams that were in the bottom six, and so Tottenham fans were getting very excited about what was going on over there on their side of North London. Welcome, Gary.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
My counterpart for today. Thank you for joining me.
Yes. Hello, sir. All right, just trying to adjust things on my screen here.
I thought you might
Uh,
be checking up on March Madness or something like that today.
my
No?
team lost day one, so it's easy just to go. All right, I'm done.
Okay.
So, so that's what happened.
You can still enjoy it, right? It goes on
Uh,
for a few more weeks, right?
yeah, it goes on.
Okay.
I
I
guess I'm
shouldn't have
getting
mentioned
old.
it.
I mean,
So I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. You just, yeah. Thanks for nothing.
I did
Yeah,
not know, Gary. I did not know.
yeah.
But anyway, listen, I'm going to go through some numbers. And the first number today, Gary, is number 10. You might have heard. After 10 games this season, Tottenham were winning the league. They were
Yeah,
top of the league. They were going to win the league.
yeah.
Well, you go through a full season, and here we are 10 games from the end of the season. It's not Tottenham anymore. It's not Ange anymore.
Mhm.
And it's Arsenal and Arteta.
Yep, yep, yeah. Well, we've been through this before, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we know it's not over till it's over. So we shall see how that all
Yeah.
pans out. So,
Are
not
you
much we can.
taking are you taking that experience of last season into this season in
Every
terms of this
you,
point?
there's you have to learn from the previous game,
Yeah.
previous season, and the previous season on that. I think to some degree we have learned, but we have not learned in the sense that you know what, you don't have to you don't have to get it right the next time. You can just go ahead and do it right now. You know, like you need to finish strong at the end of the season. We know this. We've known this now 2 seasons.
Yep.
We didn't learn from the first time it happened when we finished fifth. So for me, we should be learning from our past. Like you need to play better at the end of the season. You need to have a team and a squad that can make it through a whole season. You right? So here we are. We should be getting healthier, even though it sounds like we're getting more injuries. So
Are we
we'll see.
getting what have we picked up some injuries?
Well, I mean, Saka couldn't play in the couldn't play. We don't know how if it's severe or if it's just a tactical decision to pull him out. Right?
Yeah.
Martinelli still has to come back. Jesus is he
Mm.
all the way back? Probably not.
Right.
Gabriel, tactical decision, or actually is there something there? So you know,
Okay.
you saw
I,
you saw Declan Rice yesterday playing, and he got a little nick at one point. It was limping around. It's like, oh man. So yeah,
I mean, we are definitely there's a hex over our club if somebody like Declan Rice goes down
hmm
and would be out for the rest of the season. But Kayasaka, I think that's an injury that they are managing have been managing throughout the season.
yeah. See,
And
here's the thing about that. Why does it
mhm.
matter this season?
Why
What
does it
about
matter
what?
this season?
Yeah. What about the last 2 seasons when he was going through the exact same thing?
Well, I heard something earlier on a podcast, Gary, and there might be something to this that they're managing him week to week, so his training may not be
As and
as
as I
intense.
said, what is
No,
the difference
we
between
get him.
right now than the last 2 seasons? Because we've been in the same
Listen,
situation. He
well,
has not
listen.
rested. The man has
I,
played every game.
I think that they are getting him ready for match days and not. intensively training him through the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's
No, but
ready in
you're not going to
time.
answer my question.
No, I'm
What
not.
happened in the last 2 seasons? Because nothing has changed. He's always been managing an injury or being overused
I
to
think
some
every
degree.
player. I think every player is managed
Like I said, but
every
what's the
season.
difference now? Because now all of our players aren't playing.
The
Uh,
difference. The difference has always been he's one of our best players, and we
He has been our
as
best player for
as
the
he
last three
goes,
seasons, right? So there's nothing. So that's not different. He's being overplayed. That's not different.
he's not being
He's
overplayed.
gone away on.
He's not
He's
being
gone away.
overplayed. He's being managed.
He was
His
no.
schedule is
He
being
is being
managed.
overplayed. He hasn't not. If we don't have a right winger, so we don't. Nobody
Not of the
comes. He doesn't.
caliber of him.
Nobody comes in to expel him.
No. Stefan said a season is won in May, not August.
Yeah.
Very true. You need to
Well, you know
be
what? No,
in
no, no, no.
position,
It's
right?
one every day. If we don't have rice if we don't win August. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's. There's victories to be had in every aspect of football, be it preseason, postseason, off season, everything, windows, all of that. You're trying to give yourself a win in all those situations. So for me, they all work together, right? You need to win everything.
Yep.
That's what, yeah.
You
You need to be
don't get to
undefeated
this
in all of those.
position. Gary, we don't get to this position if we haven't been good at some points, some months in the season
Every
to get
month
us to
you
this
have to
point.
be well.
Yeah.
You have to do well every
Well,
month.
we've
I mean, we keep talking about trying to catch the City team and a Liverpool team who have consistently be competing for trophies
I
for the
think
last what 6 7 years, right?
I think all three teams have had dips of some sort though, right?
Yeah,
City would say they've dropped points, Liverpool would say they've dropped points through draws and a defeat here and there.
it happens all the time though, right?
We've had them as well.
Yeah,
Newcastle, Aston
yeah.
Villa. We've lost games to teams you wouldn't think that we would have lost to. You know, Fulham, West Ham, Aston
And
Villa.
you know what we've done that consistently as well because we've seen where against the top six we have like basically winning records and against the relegation teams we're dropping points all over. So
Yeah.
we play to the competition, and that's a young team, right? Because you think if we at some point it doesn't matter if we lose to City, but it mattered that we drew to Liverpool, we drew to um, West Ham, we drew to Southampton, all these types of things, right? Those
Mhm.
are the losses. I think it's Southampton, but
Last season.
those are the drop points that hurt you just as much as playing up. Like we did, like you said, going into that City game last season, we were like, it doesn't matter. We just need to win going into that, and then if
Mhm.
we were able to get a draw, perfect, right? A loss doesn't hurt us, but it does when you drop points in the
So
three games prior.
so that's the first number 10.
Mm,
Tottenham had 10 games where they were top of the league.
10.
We have
Okay.
10 games. We had 10 games remaining,
Mm,
and we're top of the league right now. Next number, Gary, is 22. Man City, 22 games unbeaten right now. You wouldn't think it, right? But that's what it is. They've won 19. Now, this could include Europe as well, European competition. But Arsenal are 8 games unbeaten as well. Eight games winning. We've beaten Porto as well, but we lost in that away from home. But how difficult? Like it's going to be a tough task to go to the Etihad, but I believe we're in probably the best position that we have been in recent years to beat this Man City team, or to at least compete with them on their own patch.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, as you said, there were 22. So now, just in the league, that'd be 32, and then in the Champions League, that'd be at least another five, right?
Well, I think it's 22 with all competitions
Yeah,
taken
no, and
into
that's
account.
37, and then they still have FA Cup, right? I think they're in FA Cup still,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know, that's another 3 games or 2 games or whatever it is. So with
It's
almost,
22. It's 22 games, including league
yeah.
and cup games.
So there's like they would to win out, as people expect them to.
Hmm.
They're going to be almost to 40 matches unbeaten. Is that something possible? You know,
Yeah,
Hello,
no,
everybody in the chat.
no.
I don't think I said hello to everybody, but welcome to the show.
Yeah, Brownies joined us. BX Gunner, his spidey senses went off. Stefan was here from the
Yeah.
start. So yeah, check in with us, whoever is there. So yeah, but Gary, I believe we're going to go to the Etihad, and we can give them a very good game
Yeah, no,
at
we
the
need
end
to
of the
go
day.
there to win the game. So whatever the tactics are or the plan is, we need to go in there with the approach that we need to get a win.
This game will
Right.
have a huge bearing on the destination
Yeah.
of the title, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, I think Liverpool, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but I think Liverpool will fall away at the end, and
Hmm.
I think the team that could finish above Man City will be the team who could win the league.
Yeah.
If you're going to win the league, you're going to finish above City. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They have some injuries of their own as well. Kevin De Bruyne is a doubt. We saw Kyle Walker limp off, but I have no confidence that he's going to miss that game next Sunday. He'll be okay. And there's a couple of other injuries on their side. I'm not sure if you're aware of them as well, but those are the injuries on their side. We should go in. I know you were talking about Bukayo Saka maybe being a doubt, Gabriel Martinelli being one as well, but I think we have the makings of we have solutions. Well, you talk about Gabriel Jesus, and we have solutions there in the form of Kai Havertz. Um, and the number 9 here is how many years it's been since we've won at Manchester City. So it's been since
Yeah.
2015.
We need to change that stuff, right? As we've said multiple times, it isn't always that we get the win, but we need to be somewhat competitive in that game. We've yet to do that since Arteta's been here,
Yeah,
right? At the Etihad,
at
we
the
have not
Etihad.
been competitive at all. Not like, but we need to be. Like same thing with Liverpool, right? The last 2 seasons we played them at Anfield. We've had an opportunity to win, not just not we've
Yeah,
not lost, so that's a positive step. But at some point, like I said, we don't need to have to. Why do we have to learn from the previous, you know, from the previous test that we took, right? Why can't we just sometimes pass the test the first time, right? All right. So
hmm
it's that's kind of what I would like to see, and it doesn't. We always seem to have to learn from our past, and I kind of
Good
want us
evening,
to
Russ.
and I kind of want us to, you know, either get the luck that we need the first time or create the luck that we need the first time so that we don't have to go, all right, well, we learned from that. So we go, because when Leicester won the league, they weren't like, well, let's see how we did the last time we competed for the league. None of those players had competed for the league. Not like that. You know what I mean? Somehow they got through. So I know you don't have to have learned from the previous, your previous experiences sometimes. Sometimes you can pull through the first time. So that's what we need this season, right? To have a really good season, we're going to have to do something we haven't done, right? We've had to come back from
Yeah.
where we sat, in December and win a league. We're going to have to like do something the team has never done in terms of the Champions League performances. So,
Yeah.
we've
There,
got
there,
you know,
there's a story to be written in these final 10 games of the season in the league. There's a story to be written, and whether it's an Arsenal story, a Liverpool story, or a Manchester City story, we don't know yet. Um, I can't put my finger on it, Gary, and say any one of those 3 teams deserve to win the league title just yet. So it's going to be decided in March, the end of March, April, and the first few weeks of May. It'll be decided. And I've no confidence, Gary, that going into the last weekend, um, the real crazy thing could be that imagine all 3 teams were on the same points, Gary. And the final round of games have to be played. Us at home to Everton, City at home to West Ham, and Liverpool at home to Wolves. And it comes down to a goal difference shootout. Wouldn't that be crazy?
as long as we have the goal difference going in.
Yeah, we'd like
You
to
can have
have
you
that
can have
slight
yeah, you can
edge,
have
right?
everything you want, but as long as we have the goal difference going into that game,
And no
and
matter
we have you
we're
know
we're we're on the same points as Liverpool. So if we have 8 wins and one loss, and Liverpool have 8 wins and one loss, and Man City have 8 wins and one draw, everybody goes into the last game tied on 88 points with goal difference to decide,
mm,
you know, or result to decide as well.
yeah,
Kevin Mark, thanks for joining us, Kevin.
you're welcome.
So the next number up here, Gary, is number 19, and it will be 19 days since Arsenal have played last when they take to the field at the Etihad. I'm of the mind that I think the break has come at a good time for us. Now, some others might think momentum was really good for us. We beat a Porto side on penalties, get ourselves into a quarterfinal against Bayern Munich. Our season is just bubbling nicely. We've beaten Brentford off of that high of a late winner from Kai Havertz. So I'm going to go and say I think 19 days rest will be good, albeit players going on international duty. But I think 19 days rest might work to our favor because we had that in January. We had a little bit of a break, came back and won the majority of the games. What say you, Gary?
It's good. Like anything else, it's good and bad. The way we finished off, got ready for the break. It was perfect, right? To get that win and move along, and the move to the quarterfinals in the Champions League. So you go off on a good note
Yep.
there, all right? So yeah, no, it's good to have the time off, and there should be no excuses in terms of what players are rested. So the next thing is, can they regain the form they had that we're going to need, or it just starts a new one, right? And to me, that could also mean maybe different players start games. There's players that are coming back from injuries that have started for us, and maybe they're in better form going in. This is something Arteta's got to figure out, right? Yes,
Mhm.
we have a legit starting 11, but we have to have a squad as well. So for me, it's just the best 11. We know our back line when it comes to fullbacks. No, we don't really. We have answers on both sides, right? We have answers in different parts of in the front line as well. So yeah, no, I think the rest is good, and we
We
should
got a
see. We
huge
should, yeah. We have the City big game, and then we play Luton Town. So we don't have like a back-to-back big games,
no.
right? So
Yep.
they can give Arteta not that can he can let players play it out if he needs to, but he can also you know use your squad. All right, use your
Yeah, so
squad.
we're gonna, as Stefan says, 19 days is a huge break, but will it affect momentum? We definitely will see
Yep. Yeah.
how that works out, Stefan and Gary.
That's
But
why that's why I said it's not necessarily that players are only rested. It's just that they haven't like dipped in the form that Arteta wants, right? He says he looks at players and sees he knows what they need to do, and sometimes you can tell you tell that's what you see. You'll see them when they come back from Euro international break. You see them throughout the break if they're staying home, and those players that could probably deserve the minutes, maybe the start or more minutes or whatever, and you go with that because you're gonna we're not gonna win this with our starting 11. We're not. So you know that can't be. Nobody does that,
mhm.
right? When we look at City, we don't. I don't think you say if they play the same 11 and those 11 are the only ones that helped them get through. For example, the last 22 wins that they had. I don't think that's true because we know they've had injuries throughout that time, right? So your squad has to be your starters plus the squad players or the squad itself.
As Kevin says here, personally, it comes down to how Arteta fully utilizes the squad. Our squad depth is average. We got no backup to our centre back, right wing, and central midfield area. No number 10. We don't really play with a number 10, though. We play with eights, Erdegaard. Fabio Vieira could do a job there.
Okay, that's
Emil
not
Smith
true.
Rowe.
That is not true. That is
What?
not true either.
Tell me.
You're
Tell me
making
what
that up.
sucks.
What has Emil Rowe done this season that you go?
I said
He
he
can
can do a
back up.
job.
He can't because he's not even getting the time to do it now. So it's not an answer to the question.
So if Erdegaard gets injured, what would
We
you
we
do,
are we're, we're
Gary?
we are in trouble in multiple areas if we have injuries. If Saka's out, we don't necessarily have an answer there. If
I mean,
Erdegaard is
that's
out, we
fair.
don't have an answer there. If
That's
Saliba
like
or
saying
if Saliba or
Saka gets
Gabriel,
injured,
yeah,
Foden gets injured, Salah gets injured, Liverpool's
exactly.
going to get hurt,
Yes,
Man City's going to get hurt.
yes,
Injuries will hurt
yes,
all three of the teams,
yes.
right?
Yeah, we
Um,
have. I think we have more in the case of um, risk because we don't have as much depth. Liverpool wasn't playing with Salah; it was still beat us in cup games. So
in that cup game, yeah.
so
Well, we
they were
beat
winning
them.
games as
We beat
well,
them
right?
in the league.
Yeah. So like
You
I
know,
said, but it's they've continued to move ahead in pretty much what all the cups they've been in. It's up until now, right? Until this last one in FA Cup, but
United, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like I said, I think we still some of the problems we had last season in terms of depth we still have now. Like
Central.
like you can't tell me that if, for example, Emil Smith-Rowe, Fabio Vieira, uh, Nelson, or Nketiah going into a City match, you would feel anywhere near confident that they will be able to pick up whatever slack um, is needed for any players they're replacing. That's not happening. We know Trossard can. We know Kirio can. We've seen it now, right?
Yep, yep,
So we know Jorginho can. We know if Partey comes back, we know that's just an added bonus, right?
yep.
Um, Tomiyasu, perfect, right? So I think that's the risk is that the players that you said we can't they can't depend on them. One, because our coach doesn't. Arteta doesn't depend on Emil Smith-Rowe or Fabio Vieira because he doesn't play them.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't play them, then
Yep.
he doesn't trust them. They can't. They're not going to perform because we've seen even our best players sit out and come in and never and not perform for us.
Yeah,
So
he's a little bit like Pep in that way. Pep doesn't trust some of his squad either. You know, some of the players that Pep has actually bought, he's never really given one of the. Calvin Phillips never got a fair shake
yeah,
at
they
midfield.
wanted trouble with him, so they didn't miss it. We're thinking that we might have to depend on Vieira or
They
Milson
were, they
Pro.
were. I mean,
And
they were in trouble when Rodri got a red card early in the season. They didn't
yeah,
play Calvin Phillips. They played other players in midfield.
yeah, and that
Um,
shows you the trust that he has in that player. Not much, right?
Not much, exactly. So, I think Jurgen Klopp is a little bit more open to throwing younger players in and being that champion of the younger players and encouraging them. Every time you see Liverpool missing an opportunity, it's not a frown; it's more of a encouraging, clapping hands sort of thing.
You have
So
to trust these players. That's why. Why did we ask Nelson to stay on? At some point there was some trust. It's already
we're
gone,
gonna
right?
Yeah, so we're going to get into that. And Kevin Mark has a comment in there. I put a star on that one, Kevin, because it's part of the agenda. We're going to get to
Mhm.
what we're going to do in the summer as well. So just so you know, Kevin, I'm not skipping over your comment, but put a star in it and we'll come back to it. We are pulling miracles with the quality of top six players. Saliba, Gabriel, Saka, Rice, Trossard, White, maybe Martinelli too. Other players just seem to have an off and on performance.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd throw in Raya in there, and I'd throw a player like White in there as well
it's
into
weird
that
to
mix.
write White. Well, White, has he been off and on? I don't think so.
Ben, the White's in there. No, White's in the list, Kevin.
Okay.
So
Raya, I think Raya was a feeling out period where Arteta had to give him the minutes to, like, if he's your starter, he's your starter, and it never seemed like that. At least to us, it never seemed like, yes, he's our starter, and Ramsdale isn't in the picture. I don't know, it's he's it seems better now, but yeah, I don't, like I said, Raya hasn't done as many bad. I don't think he's done bad things. He's not gonna he's not as big, so he's gonna miss chances. Just like some of those top players there have not performed. Right, Trossard hasn't performed in some games. Doesn't mean he's not. You know, the season hasn't been defined by his playing.
Even
Right.
Saliba, even recently, Saliba has admitted he's made a couple of mistakes here and there.
So,
You know
like you
what I
said,
mean?
they're not perfect, but they are. Those are
The sum of the
definitely,
parts.
probably the most important players we have right now.
Yep. Um. So yeah, look. The other thing I want to talk about here, 9 years since we beaten City, but let's talk about another
Yeah.
player who could
Well, you know what? On that
possibly be
comment,
in there.
Erdegaard is missing, and I don't. I People say he hasn't done
Mhm.
well. The problem is he's been creating chances. We've not been finishing. That's been a
Yeah.
problem all season. So to say that he's not doing his job, which is creating chances, would be like missing what he's doing. And
Yeah.
his pressing has been the same from the start. He hasn't had any help sometimes, you know?
I agree with you there, Gary.
Yeah.
Erdegaard, he's been creating chances just because they're not being taken. It's not his fault. It's the quality of the players ahead of him, and he's also been involved in defensively pressing as well as offensively pressing. So I would include Erdegaard in there. Kevin goes on to say Raya had a tough start. Fans didn't really support Raya at the start due to the affections fans had towards Ramsdale. I know Gary and I definitely agree with that comment as well. Um, I feel personally David Raya needed to get accustomed to the defenders in front of him as well and feel that connection because you need that non-verbal communication. You need to know what your players are going to do, and Ramsdale maybe being a little bit rusty caused that goal against Brentford. So what what do you think about Raya in this situation, Gary? I think you probably think similar things, right?
If my thing was just if that's your guy, then that's your guy. You need to go with it. You need to tell everybody that's our player, and
Definitely,
leave no
yeah,
doubt. Right.
yeah.
So that's what.
Now,
All right. See you.
one
Fun.
one player that Kevin might have included in this list, Gary, was Kai Havertz. Maybe could be a number 9 as well. Who knows?
No, no,
Maybe a number 8.
no,
He doesn't make the list.
no. He doesn't make that list.
Okay. He hasn't been improving throughout the
He
season.
has. You're just going to look at the games that he's played in a center forward role. Is that what you're going to look at
Maybe, yeah,
and ignore
yeah.
the rest? Well,
I'm not ignoring the rest. I'm just going
he's
to look
played
at the
most
whole
of his
season.
games in that midfield.
Yep.
So to say he's not as influential as you think over the course of the season. Of late, yes.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think we're starting to see the Kai Havertz that was, he's coming away from that Chelsea stink a little bit. He's
Yeah.
got the
Well,
Chelsea stink off
that
him a
was
little
my
bit.
thing from day one. He's coming to a team that's more. We are in a better position, a better equipped to handle taking on a project. I didn't want one.
But
He's a
if
project.
we're getting the player from Germany, if we're getting that player from Germany, is he a project?
He was a project. Yes.
We had to revive him a little bit.
Exactly, that's a project. We
Okay.
had to take him like Rice was not a project, right? He just came in and seamlessly fit in, no
Yeah.
problems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Timber seamlessly fit in. I think to some degree Raya did. He just needed, probably more the fan support than anything because the fans were making it seem like you know, both goalkeepers had mistakes in them in terms of either positioning or just kind of how they played. So for me, he just needed he needed some time, at least for the fans to get it. Um, but
We've seen.
in general, most of our transfers that we brought in have been have been perfect, right, for what
Yeah,
we
I
need.
think I think what we did this past summer. You and I believe in Uri and Timber. You and I believe in Uri and Timber. It's been, admittedly, it's a small sample size, but the quality within those couple of games, we've seen it. David Raya has proven effective over the time that he's been with the team. And as you said, Declan Rice, I've championed Declan Rice for over a year now. And happy to see that he's come in and done the things that I hope he would. That it would be a seamless transition for him. He knows some of the players in the England setup. He knows some of the Arsenal players, Bukayo Saka especially. And Havertz has been one who has been just growing through the season. Yes, it wasn't immediately evident, right?
Well,
But
I just felt Arteta was pushing him out there for no good reason. He didn't need to click right away, and it wasn't a going to be seamless a transition into our
would have been
Arsenal.
Gary. It would have been interesting if Thomas Partey had remained fit at the start of the season. Would have been interesting to see how Havertz would have fit into that
He
team. If
wouldn't
the
have fit
original,
in, right? Because he wouldn't have played midfield.
yeah, if the
Which would
original
be
plan would have been Partey and Rice, right?
that's what I would have thought. Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
So yeah. So he. I don't. I think, as everybody said, we did not have a known position for him. He just was a player that that is really talented, and we could play him anywhere. That was Arteta's thinking, at least in my eyes.
Reese, did you see the goal he scored against France?
I have not seen the goal.
You need to check that goal
I
out that he
couldn't,
scored
I was
against
trying to
France.
watch. I was trying to see if I could see the game, and I couldn't. And then I didn't even bother looking to see the
So
highlights of the game because I was just like so upset that I couldn't even see a lot of the games that were going
he's
on.
driving. He's driving from inside left and gets to the top of the box and takes a shot from there
Yeah, I'll
from
take a look at it now that I'm just sitting here.
25 yards out, and that is against a very, very good French team.
Yeah.
Even if it is a friendly, it's against a very good French team. So there's a confidence Kai Havertz scoring against France. We know what he did against Brentford with the header,
Mm.
the penalty against Porto that we referenced in the last 16 was just full of confidence for me. And then he had gotten going against Sheffield United, Newcastle, and Burnley before that when we were on the 8 games winning string of games to the lead up to this Man City game next Sunday. And
Mhm.
we'll be talking next week, next Sunday after the City game, win, lose, or draw. And we hope it's a positive result. But there is 9 games going to come after that, and we do hope that 9 games will be some ups and downs for City and Liverpool, and we know what Arsenal need to do as well. So that's Kai Havertz. What do you want to call him, a 9 or an 8 here? I'm going to go at the 8 for Kai Havertz because that's where he started out on, and we've come up to the Etihad. We're going to come up to the Etihad on the back of 8 wins. So looks like you've not seen that goal yet, Gary.
Yeah, I think I just saw it. He cut through the middle
Cut
late,
through the
right?
middle, shoots
Late,
at the
like,
top
and
of the D at the edge of the box, and goalkeeper has no
okay, maybe
chance.
I did not. This one is you mean the end of the penalty box, right?
Yeah, right on
Okay,
the edge of the box, about
yeah.
20 yards, 25 yards out.
No, that's not the goal I'm looking at now. Then the one
Okay,
I'm
well
looking at is he's just outside the goalie box.
you need to look at the second goal then, one that makes it 2-0.
This is the
Um,
one that makes it 2-0. So maybe
on
maybe I can't
28.
find. Maybe it's not on any of these any of these
Uh,
these 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 things because yeah,
right. Let's take
yeah.
a comment here from Kevin while you're catching up there. Odegaard is not taking risks this season. Not sure if it's due to Havertz playing a versatile role. Those 6 or 7 players I mentioned, without them, make a huge difference. Odegaard seems to play safe. I think he's the one, Kevin. I think he's the one that's probing all the time, trying to make things happen. Has he scored as many goals as last season? No. Martinelli also has not scored as many as he had last season. But we have players who are picking up for those 2 players. We have Declan Rice getting goals and assists. We have Bukayo Saka scoring goals. We have Kai Havertz scoring goals. So there are players that are making up the leeway, and we're actually on pace to score more goals than last season and on pace to concede less goals than last season. So those are 2 numbers that usually would point you in the direction of winning a title. and realize we're up against Pep Guardiola and we're up against Jurgen Klopp, and we have joined the party. We are competing at the top level now. All right, so Gary, Arsenal, we have to go away to Brighton, Wolves, Tottenham, and Man United. So those are through 4 away games after the Etihad, after the Man City game. 4 away games that we have to. I think they progressively get more difficult, right? If you look at Brighton and Wolves, we can win at Brighton, we can win at Wolves, Tottenham, and Man United. Then it gets progressively a little bit more difficult, these away fixtures. But Arsenal in the last 2 years have been very good away from home.
No, because defense travels. They say at least over here in the states, right? So we've got solid defense. So
And we
teams either they might play a little bit more attacking style when they're home. Our defense has been consistent all season, no matter who we've had out wide
I like that one.
on the
Defense
fullbacks.
travels.
So I think that's why we're in most games. Like I said, I don't believe outside of Luton any team has scored 3 goals on us.
Yeah,
if I
correct.
recall.
And that was
West Ham did in the cup, but
yeah.
So we've had like 2 teams scored 3 points on us, and in both situations, it's one for Luton was just, I don't know. That's the blip for me. The West Ham, I think, is because we went with our we tried to use our
Luton
depth.
was like Luton was a very traditionally old stadium that the crowd is on top of you. David Raya was starting to come to grips with his defense and the community. You look back at those goals. Communication was very bad between defenders and goalkeeper, and David Raya was not good for a couple of those goals. He was hung out to dry for a couple as well. Again, Declan Rice popping up to get the winner in that game. And I think at the end of the season, having a Declan Rice go to Arsenal rather than go to City has created this three-way situation at the top of the league right now. Imagine Declan Rice at Liverpool or City. It would be kind of not very evenly balanced sides. Kevin said, we used to beat City in Main Road back then. Now it's close to 10 years since we beat them. Things must change. 9 years to be exact, but we beat them in October at the Emirates, and I have a feeling we're going to have to get a decent result there, Gary, in order to make this work this season at City.
Yeah, we can't. Basically, we can't lose there, but we need to. We should be going in expecting to win that game, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like I said, and I've said to people, the most important game for Arsenal is the next one. That's it. Can't really look too far down the line because that's what happens. As fans, we were doing that last season, right? City games coming up. Remember, both of you are sitting there like, all right, so if we win 10, go into that match having won 10 in a row, we'll be fine, right?
Yep.
We did do that. So now, for me, I'm trying to take a step back. No, it's just the next one because they've all been fun, all the games, right? Even the ones we've lost, and so it's just one game at a time for me. I say that all the time, right? You've got 38 tests in the league, and this is test number 29, I think it is.
29 coming up, exactly.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. See, Sam has joined us. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Sam Greenwood, the legends in the chat box. At this point, Gary, I mean, we were 5 points this time last season. We were 5 points higher than we are this season, but it feels we fell away in the last 10 games. We definitely fell away in the last 10 games, and I feel like each of these 3 teams are going to have to post something like 27 points out of 30. 26, 27 points out of 30.
As I said, that's why I say for me, I can't look at. I'm looking at the next one because this is the most important one to us because every game will have the same significance on it, right? Mm-hmm. Until you tell me the league is won, it doesn't matter how many games left we play. Every game will matter, right? So
I hope we have that moment, Gary, this year.
It'd be
I
good
can
to
say,
say coming
I
into
can say,
like the last
Gary,
few games of the season, as long as we don't lose and we draw here, we'll be fine or something like
I'm
that, right?
getting goosebumps, getting
So,
goosebumps. If I
but
can say
like I said, it's
sometime in May, if I
yeah,
can say sometime in May, Gary, it's official. We won the league for the first time in 20
yeah,
years.
yeah,
That'd be a nice moment, right?
yeah, yeah. So, like I said, one game at a time.
Okay.
Next one up, next big test up is the biggest one we're gonna have all season because it's the next one, and it's a 6 pointer, right? It's a six
Yeah,
pointer,
definitely.
right? So
Yeah, definitely.
we need to get the win and then
Tom,
go from there.
Tom has a story about a Spurs fan who nailed his season ticket to the wall. He went back the next day and someone only had gone and stolen the nail. A season ticket. The season ticket
The
was left
this dangerous
there.
Dave guy keeps coming up. We're talking about the most dangerous, not dangerous, the best guitarist I guess in the
All
world.
right.
His name
So
came up.
Brighton, we go to Brighton, we go to Wolves. They'll be tricky away games.
Yeah,
Tottenham Hotspur, that team, as you like to call them,
yeah, yeah.
they'll they have City as well, and I think they have to play Liverpool
City and Manchester and sorry, say
and
Manchester
Liverpool.
United and that team will have a say in how the season the season will go for
Hmm.
the top three teams right now because they play. I think they play all of them. So so our goal is just to, like I said, win the next one, but then also in the games that where there is actually overlap between the teams, come
You
out
remember
victorious, right?
remember that day, Gary? We went to the MetLife, and met up with you there. We went
Mhm.
to the game in New Jersey. If I'd have told you, if I'd have told you, we were looking at that game number 4 in the league when we would face Man United in competitive action. But if I'd have told you, Gary, if we have a chance, second last game in the season to go to Old Trafford, and if I tell you now that we could win, if we win there, we could win the title. You would have taken that, right?
For sure. Yeah.
You would have been like, let's fast forward to that game in May 11th. Um, but that we got revenge against Ten Hag. We lost on that day that I met up with you, but we got revenge
Yeah.
at the Emirates. 3-1, we beat them.
Yeah. I just
Ten Hag.
remember all the talk about their youngsters coming in and hurting us and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
they have to depend on those young players still today, right? So
they're
um,
still dependent on them.
yeah,
Exactly. Um, Ten Hag seems very much focused on Arsenal. You hear press conferences now in March, and he's talking about September when they should have had a penalty and they shouldn't have had a goal chalked off for offside when Gabriel stepped up expertly to catch Garnacho offside on a split second decision.
yeah.
But do you think Ten Hag is really focused on Arsenal when that game comes around?
Yeah, you know what? He'll probably forget about it. Based on just to be consistent, right? He's not playing us, but he's consistently talking about us.
Yeah,
And now when he plays us, we'll play them, and it will look like, dude, you weren't even thinking about us this whole time. So, just kidding there. But no, we're not even thinking about that game right now, right? We've got lots
can't.
of things to
Yeah,
do that are more important at this time
yeah.
than the second to last game of the season.
Going through Manchester will be important for the destination of the title as well.
Hmm.
City and Man United as well. Um, Kevin goes on to talk about Erdegaard. He's creating more, but apart from our strikers, others are scoring. He isn't taking any chances this season. Kevin De Bruyne has more contribution and less appearance. He equaled or probably beat Kevin De Bruyne's stat last season. So we talked about this a lot, Kevin. Last season they had the exact same goal contributions. It was just flipped around. So Erdegaard had more goals than goal contributions or assists, and Kevin De Bruyne had more assists than goals. But they actually had similar numbers last season, and Erdegaard's probably not shown the same amount of numbers this season as he did last season for you know reasons of trying to accommodate Declan Rice and more particularly Havertz into the side, I would say. Uh, Ten Hag, that boiled egg lookalike, is just waffling. He does seem like his time is written. His numbers are his time is short for Manchester United. If we're supposed to believe the rumors about Southgate going to Old Trafford as well next season, bring it on. Bring Southgate to Old Trafford. We'd love that. Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
Erdig- Sam said Erdegaard's contributing way more now. He is not sitting deep. He is performing very similar to Kevin De Bruyne. He controls most of our attacks. Maestro. I think some of the things that we have gotten to get used to, Gary, this season has been control, right? So our games have looked a little bit more calm than last season.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that's been important as well because you take into account games like Bournemouth and Aston Villa. Those were games that were we still had 12, 14 games to go in the season. And we were involved in these high octane shootout kind of games like Bournemouth 3-2 with that Nelson winner. And a lot of people actually forget about Aston Villa, where we were
Here's the
lucky
thing.
to be
Here's the thing
Aston Villa.
also to remember because I just had to look this up because I know we keep bring you brought it up just now and others are probably brought it up as well. KDB has the same like contributions and whatnot this season, I think. But
This season as well as
yeah,
last.
well, this season in terms of goal contributions this season, but he had four against Luton, which I don't know if they're counting that one. That was in the cup, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
it should be
and then like
Premier League. Yeah,
if you
we
look at the Premier League stats, though, let's see which top Liverpool. He had an assist. Manchester United, nothing. Um, Bournemouth, nothing. Chelsea, nothing.
Manchester United. He had
No,
that cross. He took the corner for that goal. Oh, against
it's
Liverpool, right?
against Liverpool. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
So like he's had goal contributions against Everton, Brighton, Brentford, and Burnley, but against that team he had none. He came off the bench for that one, but he hasn't played much. And the games, the big games, he's only played, you know, basically one Liverpool, right? And he did contribute there with the assist. So he hasn't. I mean, his numbers are, they're going to only get better. So I expect that you expect to see that. But I kind of feel like, you know what, you can't blame. I can blame Erdogan because he doesn't shoot enough. That's my problem with him. He should be scoring a lot more, right? That's the problem I have with him. Is that maybe he should have more goals because you know what when you're trying to make the pass and your teammates aren't backing you up essentially, then
Yeah,
at some point I expect him to
you're
just
not
go, you know
making
what,
your work look good.
so at least you know what, then just take the shot. You know what I mean?
When you've had that perfect pass and you're saying, Erdegaard's saying to himself, "Go on, go ahead, put it in the net," and it's just not happened. It
Yeah.
makes him look bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Southgate plays played by Jason Sudeikis out next summer. That would be funny. Southgate, the man who fails his way to the top like a mediocre Judd Apatow.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
well, I just find it, everybody's like, well, he's done so much for England football. We've made it to these finals, and I'm like, I- at least I feel like from some people that I talk to, they a lot of fans probably feel because of the talent levels they get there despite Southgate's right. Because we saw what should have happened in the Brazil game this weekend, right? It doesn't matter
yeah,
that they had injuries and whatnot, but for
yeah.
me they had the depth of the squad was better. They got nothing out of that game, right? Like attack wise, do we feel like Foden didn't shine kind of thing like you expected him
No,
to? And is that on the player or is that on the scheme,
I
right?
think the best effort that Watkins had was rebounded off of his foot from an interception.
So they got nothing out of like. Do they know if Watkins is going to be a good backup to to um to
They
Harry
would have
Kane?
to
And
end.
then and then the fact that he didn't even give Tony a chance
Yeah,
makes no sense as well. Like
right.
what? Like now, like if Tony doesn't start in the next game, then you've like
I
wasted an
mean,
opportunity to
it
determine
kind
him.
of
If you have
Doesn't
to
it back
play,
up Ben White then? That kind of action backs up Ben White because Ben White would have went there and sat on the bench and
mhm.
maybe not played or got a start. You know what I mean? At all. Because Tony went and sat on the bench and then get to play.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like what you're not. You have talented players and you don't utilize them. Like you need to change something up in that game. Either some fresh legs, like it wasn't like whatever you expected Watkins to do wasn't going to happen because the game was just you didn't have the control you wanted, right? Like
Yep.
what like you see Harry Maguire there and you're just like this is just something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to make that play to
Keystone
make that
Cop.
stop and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you're like, you know,
Keystone Cop. Kevin says, Sam, Erdegaard has shown what he's capable of last season, but he seems to be more of a very subtle and controlled performance this season. He's trying too much to be precise, probably Arteta micromanaging. That micromanaging has gotten you from fifth place one season to second
yeah,
the next season, gotten you from second to first right now,
yeah,
and
yeah,
in the Champions League quarterfinal, Kevin. So
yeah.
I'm
No, think
all
about
for
it. I don't think,
micromanaging
yeah, like you
if
said, like I
that's the
don't think
case.
any of the fans were saying our goal creation is terrible and that's why we're not scoring. I think we were all saying our goal completing, finishing our dinner has been a problem. We have not been finishing our opportunities to score in games.
Tony, as
And some
Tony
of that
says,
has been, and some of that's been with the shot, not with, well, there was a poor pass or something like. It's more like, man, we've had opportunities to score and we didn't. We've seen it,
yeah,
right? We
yeah,
saw it. Is it the West Ham or the Fulham game? West Ham game, right?
6-0.
77. No, the one where we had 77 touches in the box, 31 shots and no shots on target or something ridiculous or whatever it was, no goals or whatever it was, right?
West Ham at home.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So that right there, creation isn't our issue. And that's why I'm disappointed that he hasn't taken more shots and maybe scored more goals. You know,
yeah,
uh, but otherwise, like as far as creating for the team, I think he's been part of the reason why we've been doing that. Um, and it's been the other players that haven't been as we should have a lot more goals. We know this, right? The Fulham match,
sure.
like a lot of
Uh,
like the
we
reason why we
we're
draw, the reason why we drew to Fulham the first time is probably more likely because we didn't completely finish, score more than 2 goals, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Conceding goal. Well, we conceded some horrible goals as well. If
Yeah.
you think about that Liverpool game at home that we beat them 3-1, but we
Mhm.
go in at halftime 1-1,
Mhm.
feeling like, we just given we just we just won the half, but we're going in at halftime 1-1.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Brentford right at the end of the game as well. And we can think back of silly goals like Saka passing it back to, I think he wanted Ben White to be there against Fulham, and the guy finishes really well against Ramsdale, but uh, Saka's basically assisted for that. Um, so Kevin says he is enjoying things right now. Next 2 weeks is going to define our season.
It's not
Exactly.
good. I hope not. Because just because you live to see doesn't mean the season's over.
Uh,
Let's just say that.
the next 2 weeks will take you through City, Luton Town, Brighton away from home, and Aston Villa at
So yeah,
home.
and that doesn't include any, the Bayern Munich match
Yeah.
there. We're
Hmm.
gonna play a two-legged affair there. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel like it's not over in one game, but it
No.
can't be. We cannot drag the horrors of the previous game into the next one. You know what I mean? Like whatever, we need to learn from the previous game.
Of short memories.
So
Yeah.
yes, so
Now, speaking of that, Gary, the end of April is very key as well, because if you take those 3 weekends alone, Arsenal go to Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home, Man City go to Tottenham, and Liverpool go away to Fulham. All three of the teams are going away from home, so that's a difficult weekend. The weekend after that, we play Chelsea at home. Man City go to Brighton away from home, and Liverpool play the derby against Everton away from home, and then we get to play Tottenham the next week, and City go to Forest away from home, and Liverpool go to West Ham away. So the end of April is going to be very important because I don't see many points being dropped after that. So there's lots of ways that this can go this season. But as you
Yeah,
said, Gary, the next game is the most important one.
yeah.
Um,
I did a little like for Armory TV. They wanted us to put the predictions in for those last 10 games for both teams. So,
uh-huh. So
so
you've done. Have you done? You
I,
want to reveal what you've done?
I did that. I had us drawing 3 games.
You had
Uh,
us drawing. So
yeah,
I've
yeah,
gone through it as well, but
yeah.
I've left next week's game out of it.
Oh,
So
that why? It matters.
'cause I
That
wanted to
matters. That's
see.
more important than any of the. That's
Right.
if we win that one, that sets you up for the next one
I
and
wanted to
the next
see
time.
how pivotal that game is, and of
So
course we
yeah.
know it
See,
is.
nah, that doesn't. No, that's no.
All right, what have you got down for next
Because
weekend?
so
You got a draw?
I actually have a draw. Yes.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I've
Yeah.
got a draw as well.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to say you're going to go to the Etihad, control the game, and come out with 3 points.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we can do a lot of that and come out with a
I think
point.
I think our
You know,
defensively we can keep them quiet, right? If they make mistakes, we will pay. You know, we've been, as some people will say, we've been lucky, but there's been many a City game where they've been lucky and gotten points out of it. So um, we we are playing much better. We're playing much better than we have been. You know, we know how we're going
mm,
to play when things are on. We can play any style. Like City is not going to play like Porto, right? Not going to play like Brentford,
no,
right? So
no,
you know we
they
don't
ain't
have
going
to
to
deal
come
with
to
that.
play.
So it's
Yeah.
going to be a little bit open, right? Um,
Well, yeah, at least at some parts in the game, I can see the first 20 minutes being, kind of both teams feeling out what the other team's going to do. I don't think either team are going to come out very early in the game. Arsenal want to sign wingers like the African Murder Kings as
I thought I
well,
thought you said wingers, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that guy could
winners.
pronounce it.
I'd rather hug the new bird. All right. So Gary, I think 89 points is the next number. 89 right there.
hmm
I think the league can be won with 89 points. What's
Yeah,
where? So you have your results sorted out for the three teams. So
yeah, yeah.
what's what? Just give me the
So
highest number in those three selections. Get
So
crude.
I have so based on that, then I have us with 90 points.
You have us at
So
90.
yeah,
Okay, and the
yeah.
other two not.
Like it will be hard for us to. Well, no, it wouldn't be. To get to 89 means we would have to, as you said,
25
we
points.
would have to take a loss,
Yes,
whatever
one loss
draw.
somewhere, loss and a draw
So,
somewhere.
so,
Hmm.
but I also have the other teams with 2 draws and a loss. So you know,
Hmm.
that
I've got Liverpool.
it would be like if that happens and like the draw has to be against City to some degree, right? For us, anyways. But
Well,
Liverpool can jump us, and that's where
let's.
Liverpool has to do worse than us because
Yeah,
they are right. They are tied on points. So the only way this works is if we better them in nine
I
of the
did.
games, right?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
in
Tom, you're
two.
right. I did pause when I said African Murder King, so I didn't know. I don't even know what that's all about.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyway, there you go.
yeah.
88 points says BX gonna.
See, yeah,
Let's
88 was going. 88 would then be what? That's uh,
24
22,
points. I don't
22
see.
points, 24 points from now, and that's 6 points drop. So is that 2 losses,
That's a
and then we
lot.
win everything else, or
Yeah, that's a
like
lot drop.
no, it's not. It's less. What do I
So that's
have?
only that's 24
Oh no, I
points.
have no. Sorry, I have us at 88 points. So
Yeah.
89 is going to be tough because 89, as I said, is a draw and a loss. I think.
So Gary, let's pick on
Yeah.
Liverpool for a second. I've got two draws and a loss for Liverpool as well.
Mm.
My draws are at Man United and Aston Villa, and a loss at West Ham because I think West Ham could beat anyone on their
Yeah.
day. Where have you got their loss and two
For which
draws
team
at?
again was that?
Liverpool.
For Liverpool, I have them with a loss at I think it's.
United,
I actually have. I guess I have them losing to.
Aston Villa.
Actually, I don't have them losing to Aston Villa. I have them losing to that team. I know that's crazy because that's at Anfield.
It's a home game
Yes,
for
yes,
that.
yes. But
Okay,
that's kind of what we need. I kind of feel like we need
where
those big games that you know,
yes, we need
winning.
those things that happen for us. Where do you have the two draws for them as well?
I have Manchester United and
Liverpool,
Fulham, which
a
might
draw. Yeah,
so like the loss could be at Manchester United, right, for me, as opposed
it
to.
could be a United, it could be a Fulham. Fulham, as we know,
Oh
are a
yes,
dangerous team.
yeah. So I have Manchester United and Fulham where they drop points. I also have them
Hmm.
losing though to that team. So that probably sounds crazy, but personally, they just need to lose one, and we need to go
Yeah,
undefeated. We need to go undefeated the rest of the way. So
right.
because they're the team that matters the most, right?
Ban them 14 us.
Mm,
We're beating City at all costs. A draw at Spurs. That's all I can predict.
yeah.
Uh,
Basically, I mean, I have a I have a draw at City, but then a draw at that team. Yeah.
I think this Arsenal team will would probably want to make that statement. Of course, beating City at the Etihad, but we're not gonna go and expose ourselves at the back to do that. You know what
We've
I mean?
not done that. We have not done that all season. We
Mhm.
haven't done it for most of the season. Let's
I
just
don't
say that.
can't think of a player. I cannot think of a player, Gary, who's gotten behind our back line and exposed us with green grass in front of them.
I just
You know what I mean?
the fact that Luton with a striker has been able to punish us, and if you give Harlan that same sort of if you play against him the same way you played against the Luton striker, then you could see yourself doing the same thing. So we have to play much better defensively for sure, and
Mhm.
we've done that against the big boys. Like last time we played Harlan and last time we played Tony, you know, they found it difficult to play against our center backs.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think City and Arsenal do the double over City. Um,
what is that? I think he
he
means.
thinks Arsenal do the double over City. BX Gunner.
Yeah, it'd be really
He's
nice.
got he's got Arsenal. Imagine doing a double. Do the double over City, and then we would be in great shape to do that. I just think it's difficult to do a double over City, so we'll take the draw right now. I would say. You know what I mean?
We'll take the draw, but as I said, we're going in to win that thing.
Welcome, Alonso. How are you,
Well, good.
Phil?
You know, it's
Oh,
funny because Martin Truex Jr. is also in it to win it too. Gary
Who?
Martin Truex Jr.
Nobody knows who
Martin
that is.
Truex.
Oh, sorry, I meant Martin Krapex Jr.
Oh, I know that guy. I've heard of him before.
Martin Krapex. Kevin says, I feel Liverpool will drop, but it's down to us to exploit. City looks weaker. They are weaker than last season, I believe. No Gundogan, Mahrez, game changers. Doku and Nunez has been hit and miss. Yeah, I talked to you about Doku earlier in the season, Gary. I doubted that he would be what people were saying he was going to be.
Well, what was crazy is it Doku? I think it was Doku who, when they just before he was signed, he went and had like a hat trick or something like that, right? So it was like,
He
man,
came in.
Arsenal should have. It was either him or Diaby. I can't remember which player it was, but it was just like Arsenal should, like that was like a sign, right? But we haven't heard much from either player in terms of
Um,
like them being that influential. And
Nunez also is one of those players that Pep is not 100% comfortable with either. Nunez has not been getting a lot of game time either. Um, the City has holes in defense. I think we need to attack them with Kai up front and Erdegaard, Rice, and Jorginho in midfield. I definitely will be playing Kai up front. Alonso, Kai Havertz scored against France in this international week. Did you see that goal?
I did not because I was
Okay.
probably working.
But he's in fine form, right?
He's in absolutely fine form. He's in great form. And I think we all have our concerns because he is playing out of position And I I think you, Ray, I think mentioned it, that he was better up front in the starting striker position because he could play multiple positions, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a matter of time before he got going. And to validate that price tag, I think a lot of supporters were kind of iffy about it, and I think there were more towards that. Why would you want to sign a player like that? That didn't really produce for Chelsea last year, and rightfully so, I think. But you got to give a player a chance to fit in, and I think he kind of shows you what kind of player he was at Chelsea, especially his last, I guess, year and a half, 2 years there, and it's amazing how Arteta has a knack for maybe getting the best out of the player that was damaged goods at per se Chelsea,
Yeah.
for example, and it just takes a bit of time, and I think with Kai Havertz's size up front kind of makes him more of a makes it more of a threat because you can see where his highs has really paid off. It's just I think Arteta was playing him more in a out of position of sorts, as you was. Yeah, so it was a gamble, and it's paid off. I said before, I think his best game was against Burnley, because he did everything that we wanted him to do all that time. Whenever the season started, it just
Mm-hmm.
takes a bit. It just takes a little bit of time, but some people could argue that that's time that we couldn't afford to waste on a player like Kyle Havertz because he was not performing well at Chelsea the season
Well,
before.
yeah. Listen, I believe every team has to bring players through,
I
and they're
really
going to
wasn't
take.
quite finished, Ray.
Okay, I'm
uh,
taking Tony's role tonight. So go
oh,
ahead.
okay. So, right. So, like I said before, I think it all takes time for a team like Arsenal that was established and has had needed a striker who could not score every game, but be a threat and also be a playmaker. And Jesus and Nkedia weren't doing that for Arsenal. So yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. Don't we could depend on Havertz to at least score a goal or at least try to score a goal.
All right, there's a sufficient gap there that I think I can come in now.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good. I'm finished now.
No, you slapped me right down there, Lonnie. That was okay. It was all right. I like that. Um, Gary, we got to go with Havertz. We got to solidify him as number 9 in the Man City game, right?
Yeah, yes, because well, yes, and like I said, it all also depends on form coming in. All right, I think Russ has joined us. Welcome to the show, Russ. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, for me, we know we have starters all over, so it isn't that oh wait, well, we're gonna take you out because we need to bring Jesus in. For me, it's we're, we're starting our best 11 on the day.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
And
our
Havertz at
best 11,
9.
our best 11 on the day, not just because you play last game. You're part of our best 11. It's got to be a feel. It's got to be based on form and things that we want to do in the game. Right? We have to be able to do that. It can't just be we have 11 and that's it. We're not gonna. I don't see us making it through the season just playing the same 11 in every Premier League match and every Champions League match.
Mm-hmm.
I can see us making
Oh
changes and
yeah,
still not
yeah,
dropping things because the game state and the players' form and all of that should play a part.
yeah, exactly. Uh, all right, there we go
I mean, I was just looking at it. Havertz played one game at center forward last year.
for Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, no, for Arsenal, like in the last part.
Havertz.
Yeah, Havertz, and he's played
Well, he was with
one.
Chelsea last year.
He's played no last year in the sense of before, like for Arsenal,
Okay.
and he's played 2 games this year, not calendar year, at attack in the midfield. Otherwise, he's played center forward and everything. That's why
Yeah,
I think he looks better of late. It's because he's not playing in
definitely.
that midfield,
Um,
right? So
I don't think there's any major injuries to Arsenal. right?
I
I know we
am
were.
mine. It has nothing to do with injuries. It has to
No,
do
but
with
the
best
question down
players.
there, Gary.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the
Oh,
question.
I didn't see the question. I thought you were ready
You're flaring up
I
at
thought you were
me.
ready to duke it out, have some,
No,
ready to
you're
fight or
flaring.
something.
I only have to say a word to you, and
Yeah, you do.
you're up like
I'm ready
this,
to fight, man. I'm ready.
scrappy,
I am. I am.
That's me and Tony.
scrappy. Well, I know we talked about Bukayo Saka, but as I said, I think, and we don't want to get into the long grass here again. I think it's an injury, maybe something that they're managing Saka through the year with, through the season with. Maybe it was last season as well. They're tailoring his training. Maybe he's missing a day as well. I watched a good podcast with Simon. What's the guy who used to own Crystal Palace? Simon Jordan. He interviewed um, who's our former midfielder, cheeky chappy. Uh,
Keown, is it?
no, it was a
Oh,
freaking
you said
he.
midfielder. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he bossed the game against Barcelona.
Oh, Jack Wilshere.
Jack Wilshere,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
I just slipped my mind. Okay, Jack Wilshere.
Okay,
Well,
right.
really, really good interview on Jack Wilshere, who is uh, coaching the under 18s, I believe, said something very important that he thinks they're managing because Saka's weak, so he takes a day off through the week. He takes the day off. His training's not as hard, so he's ready for a match day. You know what I mean? Because let's face it, Jack Wilshere is getting kicked from his fullbacks every game, 3 or 4 times. Um, but so I don't think we really have any updates on injuries. I think we'll have um, a clean bill of health when it comes to next week, next Sunday.
You can
Against
tell Brownie we held up the show waiting for him to come back, so now we can continue to
Yeah,
talk.
we pressed the pause button. We just sat here waiting for you.
Brownie left us, so what else? We can't talk about anything. So.
BX, if I told you BX at the start of the season that we could essentially win the league at Old Trafford by beating Manchester United, you would have taken that, right? I think we all would have taken that. Now, we just talked about Alonso. We just talked about the possibility of all three teams being on 88 points going into the last game of the season.
Yeah, and
Be a shootout.
that'd be pretty dynamic. Though I think in the past, Tony has always mentioned goal differential, and
He's right.
now
Sometimes he's right. You know what I mean?
now
Sometimes he's right.
it'll finally pay off
Broke the
for
clock.
the old gaffer. But yeah, I mean, I think whenever you have, like I said, we're rolling right now with scoring goals, and we're scoring from everywhere. It seems like
Mhm.
with headers and the center backs, and even Ben White scoring a goal in Kivyard as well. Even Ben White, excuse me, Declan Rice and Odegaard and Martinelli and Saka and Havertz. So I think we can score from anywhere. It seems like, and I think our corner kicks have been really really good this year, and Declan Rice has been taking them.
I
So
think so.
they're not afraid to put a head in
Yeah.
the goals. So you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to that. But like I said, or not like I said, but like I want to happen is that we shouldn't stop scoring goals because we have this margin with Liverpool. We had the talent to do so. Even our bench can score goals as well when they want to. So, it's an exciting time, and I think we all want Arsenal win and to win fairly as well. I think their card record is not as great as well, so they have that going for them. So just keep it clean, but also score all the goals.
Yeah. Bandam put in a question there. I put a star on that and we'll check that one a little bit later. Alonso, as you mentioned, Tony and goal difference. The last number on the list here pertains to one of Tony's favorite players. Can you guess who it is?
Eman Rudiger. What a goal.
No, no. It's William Saliba. It's just 20. He's 23 years old
All
today,
right. Yeah.
Alonso. So number 23 is for the 23rd birthday of William Saliba.
Is that number 19 for Martin Truex Jr.?
Well, you could if you want to do that, you could. But it was the 19 is for the amount of days that Arsenal have been waiting for this Man City game to come around.
Oh, is
So
that so?
we'll be coming into that City game on 19 days of rest, albeit international duty. But yeah, the other numbers are 10. Tottenham were top of the league after 10 games of the season. Well, guess who's top of the league with 10 games to go right now? Uh, 22 is 22 games unbeaten that City are coming into this game at. And number 9 is 9 years since we've beaten City at the Etihad. And number 8 was Kai Havertz as well. And 89 is the points tally that I think we may end up on, the winning team may end up on, you know. But William Saliba, 23 years old, and I think Arsenal wanted to build something sustainable and something that's going to be here for many years. And I believe this Arsenal team will be here for many years because many of the players on this team are 23, 22, 23, 24, and coming into the prime of their careers. But William Saliba, 23rd birthday, he's the cornerstone of everything that we want to do moving forward, Alonso.
Yeah, and it was nervy because I remember it was 2 summers ago that they were sure that he would leave because of a certain amount of reasons, and he there was sure that he would leave, not even play for Arsenal. When he got whenever he left NTN and went to Marseille and all that. So there were some people who thought that he would never even wear an Arsenal kit, let alone play for them again. So, but then it all comes from patience and understanding and willing to sacrifice, and he has, and he's been through a lot in his personal life to be here,
Yeah.
and you know, you question whether or not Arteta did the right thing by loaning him out 2 years in a row, and now we have him, and he's been quite a bit as advertised, and he's a very good player for both club and country, I believe. So,
Yeah.
we got a gem, and I never thought we'd see a player like that, like his caliber, in a quite a long time. But I think him and yes, and I've been critical of Megalash in the past due to his mistakes,
Yeah.
and he's made me believe in him again. I believe in
Well,
him.
it
Um,
feels like a confessional here, Alonso. You can
I
tell
mean,
all your
well,
feelings.
I have to admit I'm wrong because Tony will keep on bothering about it. But yeah, I mean, he's made it good again, and Gabriel Megalash and him have been a great partnership. You haven't seen that in a quite a long time, ever since Cristiano and Mertesacker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even better than that. So, uh, it's been quite amazing to see two players that understand each other and play off each other very well. And we're lucky to have them.
Exactly. Look, if if we're lucky enough to win this Premier League, then we will say we've had the most goals, we've conceded the least amount, and we have a quality partnership in William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. And Roll Me One Kenobi is a great name here. I love that name, Roll Me One Kenobi. Saliba is quality. A Los Blancos fan from Real Madrid. I'm sorry, mate, but Saliba looks better alongside Gabriel Magalhaes, and Rudiger is a phony. You know what I mean? He's not as good to me. For me, he's not as good as Gabriel Magalhaes. Is he, Gary?
Rudiger?
Rudiger. Who'd you rather have, Gabriel
Oh
Magalhaes or
no,
Rudiger?
I think he wants both, right? So
He
I don't
wants
think he.
Saliba and Rudiger. He's got
Yeah,
Rudiger
no,
right
no,
now.
yeah, no, because Rudiger is more a Gabriel type play. He's the one that's going to go out and do a lot more of the dirty work, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Saliba's pretty clean in his play. So Yeah, yeah, we've seen Rudiger do. The way he's played, it's kind of worked out for for his team. So yeah, no, no,
Well,
I could see why he would want that, but no,
we'll take
we've
we'll
got
take
our
Vinicius, right,
we've got
Gary?
our pairing, huh?
We'll take Vinicius if Real Madrid's ever selling,
Yeah, if they want
right?
to. Yeah, we'll take Bellingham early. They're gonna if we get to choose, all right?
There you go. I heard something as well in another podcast, Gary, that in coming years we could be rubbing shoulders with Real Madrid because Arsenal are going to be in the Champions League for a few years now, unless it all goes to pot, which I don't think it will. You know.
Yeah.
But tell me about William Saliba, Gary. I mean, as Alonso said, we've put a lot of years into this player.
Yep. Yep. Fans were ready for him to play for us, and Arteta was not ready for him yet. So he's here, and he's here to stay now. So yeah, yeah. And I've said, I've heard this multiple times. Arsenal's wants us to wait. We don't want to wait.
Yeah.
No, we know as fans, we don't want to wait for to see
Well,
this thing out and stuff like that. We
I
really want to get.
remember.
We want to see the results right away.
Yeah, I remember a Frank Lampard team trying to rub shoulders with Liverpool and City and didn't stay around very long. I believe we've had to rebuild this thing sustainably, Gary, and that started with the defense. And it started with Gabriel Magalhaes. It started with Tierney. It started with Ben White, players like that coming in, William Saliba, and being good at the back and building from there, and then addressing the attack further on. Um, Gabriel is so underrated. This is true. I've been hearing if we get Mbappe, you guys could come in for Rodrigo. Yeah, there's not a lot of quality strikers out there, Gary, as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I like what why would Real Madrid want to sell? They just want to add, right?
Well, yeah, if they get Mbappe,
Yeah.
they would be willing to let Rodrigo
We
go.
uh, when have they done something like that?
I think certain players do move on
No,
eventually.
but like when's the last time they've taken one of their starters from the previous season, and the next thing you know, they're gone? Like, and
We
he's
did.
young, right?
I
Rodrigo's
think.
pretty young, right?
I think we have to mention Odegaard here to a Real
He was
Madrid
not a
fan.
starter for
No,
Real
but
Madrid.
no,
He,
but this
it's
is
not even the same comparison,
no, but
Ray.
no, but
We're
just
talking
think,
about a starter for them
Gary.
today being gone the next year. He wasn't even part of their plans. It's
Well, I
not even the
think you
same
have to
conversation.
mention this to a Real Madrid fan that is tuned in. You have to tell them we got Martin Odegaard right now, because I bet you Roll Me One Kenobi will say they missed out on Odegaard, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you take an opportunity to have a dig at a fellow
No,
rival,
I get
you
that,
do it.
but like now this wasn't the right comparison now. Like those are I don't know if those are answers to my question, but on all
There we
those
go. Those
cases
are answers.
they were all players. They were at the end. I think Rodrigo how old is
Yeah.
he?
Well,
Is
Gary,
Rodrigo? I thought he was a
Gary,
young player.
you
No,
can either put Mbappe on the field or Rodrigo. Who are you
yeah,
picking?
no. But my question is, and that's what I said, and let's go with that first. Isn't he a young player, or is he an old player like
It doesn't
Varane and
matter.
all of them?
He's not as good
It,
as Mbappe.
That's not the question. He's a young player, so why would they let him go? I understand letting Varane go. He was in his high 20s, right? Because
Yeah,
Casemiro, once again, high 20s. Maria, high 20s. Ozo, high 20s. These are players at the end of their careers, leaving Real Madrid.
I think
Not one that just started.
when you have
Not
an
the, it's not the
opportunity,
same comparison.
uh, when you have an opportunity to upgrade, Gary, you
That's
do it.
not. That is not the That is not the problem. That's not what I'm trying to say. You're saying they're going to let a 23-year-old leave for one of the top players who's what 25 or so? They
Do you
don't have to
think
let him leave. He
Rodrigo
could
would
just be
be
part of a.
open? First of all, they have to balance the books a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you bring Mbappe in. What kind of package are you putting together for an Mbappe? You have to balance the books, you know. So Rodrigo leaving would represent balancing the books a little bit. We have Endrick coming through, and the future could be Vinny, Mbappe, and Endrick up front. So the game time will be limited for Rodrigo.
Yeah.
So you
He's
tell
a.
the player,
He's Rodrigo's a right winger, right? So you're bringing him in, and what? Where's he going to play?
Well, ask Romy One Kenobi.
No. He's
He's the Real
leaving.
Madrid fan.
If you're telling me we're bringing him in, I'm asking you where is he gonna play? He's a
You're
right
bringing.
winger. He's played more right wing for Real Madrid than he has
He's
anywhere on
probably
the front
played
line.
striker through the middle. Probably played through the middle.
So he will play in. So he'll be our striker. He will
That's
defeat
yeah.
Kai Havertz. Yeah.
That's what the Real Madrid fan is saying. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
can't.
that's my thing. I'm just like looking at where he played and how he played last season. I don't
Rodrigo
know.
can play anywhere across the front three.
Yeah,
You
we
know.
got one of those in Trossard. We got one of those in Jesus. Yeah, we need somebody's gonna start for us in those positions,
Anyway,
right?
it's a hypothetical. He's trying to offload Rodrigo when Mbappe comes. So
Yeah.
he's just
No,
offered us
no, I get it.
Rodrigo so we
I
could
just,
give him Saliba
yeah, I
next
just
year.
think yeah, it's just an
No, thank
expensive
you.
proposition, right?
All right. Ancelotti did not rate Odegaard. He wanted to play minutes. It was time to move on. Mbappe is too much ego for Arteta. And look, Mbappe, he will probably go to Real Madrid, right? It's not, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
If not, then he's done this all wrong. If he's not going there, then where else is he gonna go?
What was it all for? There's not many teams that Mbappe can go to. So Alonso, Romy One Kenobi, you can come back and join us anytime. We're here every Sunday and Thursday nights. And I have a feeling throughout the Champions League, Alonso will be meeting Real Madrid a couple of times in the coming years.
Yeah, I think they got a good team and they're very coached very well. They have all the high-profile players. Seems like throughout the years, and they're just adding more. Vinicius Jr. is really good as well as Jude Bellingham, and um, in the past they had Ronaldo and Benzema and Higuain, and this goes on and on. Tony Cruz.
Mhm.
You have Modric. So they always spend a lot of money, and La Liga they don't care about how much the team spend. So I think competitively we could compete with them, but I think the money aspect with them they just buy a lot of players and a really high price. So it's almost like you could say it's the David and Goliath story where it'd be an upset for sure. Knowing that Real Madrid have a lot of pedigree within Champions League. Like another team except for Barcelona, I believe. So that's their tournament, and but yeah, I mean, I think they could always be beat. Right, on any given Thursday or Wednesday or Tuesday, Wednesday, or and Sunday. So I think they could do it. Arsenal obviously has a team now where they can compete with the bigger clubs in Europe.
Mhm.
Whether it'd be a constant thing still remains to be seen. But it looks like that we took our bumps down the road in the past, and now we could hopefully solidify themselves as Champions League contenders in the next coming years.
Yeah, 100%. And look, Romeo One Kenobi feels we may be too strong for Bayern and we'll get through. I actually didn't think about this, Gary. Real Madrid, it's possible they can beat City, right? And we could face Real Madrid
Any
in the
team could
semi
beat any team in our side of the bracket, right?
in the Champions League. Yeah,
Right. Well, like
our
definitely on our
side as
side,
well.
right? I think
Yeah.
especially City has beat Real Madrid as of late, but Real Madrid is they're a different team. They could pull out the win as well. So it should be it'll be good 4 games in the quarterfinals on this
Our
side.
phones on that side.
So it
Yeah.
would be yeah.
All the games are pretty evenly matched. You're going to see good games, even though the quality is a little bit lower on the other side of the draw. Dortmund and Atletico that's gonna be an interesting tie as well as who are the other two? Barca and I forget who
Um,
Barca Inter. It's not Inter.
Atletico Madrid, right? You said
Atletico Madrid. No, Barca are playing. Someone else
PSG.
can.
is Atletico? Oh, is in? No, Inter. Atletico Madrid beat Inter, so
Atletico are
Inter's
playing
out.
Dortmund, right?
Okay, so then it's
Barca. Who are
Barcelona
Barca playing?
and Barcelona.
PSG.
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 There you go. I have paid no attention to anybody else except
We're
for
just
Arsenal.
worried
I
about
could
our
care
side.
less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just worried about our side of the draw. Get it? So, Gary, we'd have to get through Bayern Munich, Real Madrid or City, and then maybe Barcelona or PSG
Or
in the
Inter, who's
final.
the most people think Inter,
Atletico.
or any one of those four teams. Well, I think Barcelona, if anybody said, would be the one team that's probably not as challenging for an Arsenal team if they were to get
I'd like
through.
to. I'd like to get Barcelona in the final.
Yeah,
Revenge for
yeah,
2006. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
Bandam said, I don't want someone who may come and think he's bigger than a club, so don't need Mbappe, even though it looks strange to say so. I think you definitely have to look at that, what Mbappe uh, would bring to a club. And Real Madrid can maybe roll with that kind of ego. I don't think it would settle as easily at Arsenal. You know what I mean? Um, that kind of ego at Arsenal could upset the apple cart a little bit. Also, we have Courtois and Militao back for the game against Man City. Roll me one, Kenobi. What's your feeling about beating City? Do you feel confident 50-50, or do you think you're the underdogs? Let me know about that one. PSG, thanks for helping me out there, Bandem. Um, hopefully, Bayern have Eric Dyer at center back when you play them. Yeah, I think Eric Dyer will be there. And you know, it's going to be a home game, Gary, with only home fans because Bayern Munich
Yeah.
fans are banned.
It needs to be one of those games where it's just Arsenal.
One
Like there should
sided.
be no. I
Tilted
mean,
pit.
how does that work? I know their fans can't come like as like but their fans can go to the game, right?
No, no, they can't.
So how do they tell? So if you walk in with a Bayern Munich top on, they will say you can't come in, even though
Uh,
you have a ticket.
yeah, they won't come. They won't be wearing a top. If anything, they'll have it covered. You know what I mean?
So legitimately, you could live in England, be English like Bayern Munich,
Yeah, it
and
could.
not be allowed in because you're cheering for the other side. Is that how that works? I don't.
Well, you will sit at the home section. You will sit in with the home fans.
Yes.
It won't be visible. The Bayern Munich
So
will
you
not be
can't.
able to
So
see
Bayern
their
Munich could
fans.
have fans at the game.
Sporadic. Yeah, didn't it
No,
happen before?
they could. No, the question is, could they have fans at the game though?
Yes.
Okay. It's just that they won't have a
The
section
players.
cordoned off for them,
Yeah,
right?
the players won't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I think it happened last year against one of the other German teams we played
Mhm.
last year as well. They also came in with um, ticket touts or whoever they get their hands
Yeah.
on them.
No,
Uh,
no, we need to let the crowd needs to be a factor for us. So you know, when and,
it's going to be
yeah,
interesting because you have Bayern who have that experience, and we maybe have a slight edge on quality. We probably have an edge on quality, but we don't have that experience of Champions League football. It's probably, all honestly, going to take a year or two for us to get that experience as young players. Uh, the tie between City and Real Madrid can go either way, but I think we will come out on top of you in the semifinal. There you go. Real Madrid fan feeling confident about revenge over Man City. Um, so there you go. We got one or two other things to talk about here, and then we'll get out of here at the top of the hour. So we'll go about another 20 minutes. Um, Kevin said earlier, if we lose without giving a fight at Man City, that's our Arteta done out here. If we capitulate, it wouldn't look good. If we come in with another 15 points like we did last season, that would not look good. But you know, we take this thing to the last weekend, and we're competing. I don't think you get rid of Arteta at that case. But if we turn in 15, 16 points out of 30, that's not good at all. You know, I don't think that's going to happen at all, though. Let's take this one, Gary. UCL or Premier League, or go for both. You
I don't
just
know which one we're gonna get, so I say we got to try to win both of them.
just the next game, right? The
It's the
next
next
game.
game, and like we have an opportunity to win 2 trophies. We should be trying to win 2 trophies. Nobody tells us which one we're gonna win, so we got to try to win both of them.
Yeah, I know it's not what you want to hear about them, but it's the
Yeah.
truth. You take the next game. The next game is Man City, and you stay relevant in the Premier League after that. You win the next game after that. You stay in the fight until the end. Um, I'd love to get past Bayern and face maybe Real Madrid. Would be nice to get City eliminated and face Real Madrid. Alonso, Champions League or Premier League or both?
Hmm. I personally think that we have enough to win the league. Unfortunately, I think death is going to cost us the Champions League. Not that I don't want to succeed in that competition because I do, but I think the Premier League is more doable. In the sense that we got to put all eggs in one basket with the league because we've been wanting that for so long. And this team is built for the future, yes, but I want the league. I want the league so bad because last year we were so close,
Mm-hmm.
and to me that would give me. I'll be proud of that. And there's levels to it, right? I think I don't know what kind of goals they had in a Champions League, but they got to be pretty high. If they get to the semifinals, I'll be okay with that because it's a learning curve for them. This is their first year in the competition after years.
I don't like learning curves. Stop. Can we? I don't want us to
It's
keep having to learn
experience,
from our.
Gary.
No, I
Where's
don't
the
want.
trigger, Gary?
At some point, we're just
Project
gonna
and
have to do
learning
it the
curve.
first time. I hear what you're saying. At some point, we're not gonna have to learn from what we
Gary,
did last year or what we did yesterday. At some
All
point, we're
right,
just gonna have to get lucky, put ourselves in positions to win today, and not go. It was a good
I can
learning
see.
experience. We'll be better next time.
Gary, I can see you on Monday mornings. Like, Gary, we have this new intern who doesn't know what they're
You
doing.
know what? Now you're just bringing up all this nonsense. You listen to like one statement and you're gonna drag it into some like real life situation when it doesn't even correlate.
It
Stop.
does if you have a guy who doesn't
No,
know
it
what he's
doesn't.
doing.
Because you're taking just one segment of my conversation and then extrapolate it to everything, and it's like that's not
Hey,
true.
that's what I do.
We've learned a lot over the last since Arteta's been here, right?
Yeah,
We've learned a lot. All I'm
we
saying
certainly
is,
have.
at least one time, can we please, like, just the same way that we won an FA Cup the first time he coached in it, right? Nobody went, well, it's a good experience. Maybe next time. No, we won it that first time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I want one of those again.
I
Since then,
agree.
it's always been okay. We learned from it. We'll get better next
I
time.
don't want to wait another year, Gary. I don't want to be back here next March saying, maybe we'll win the league this year. Maybe we'll win the Champions League this year. If you give me one or the other, I'll take big ears. I'll
We
take
were
the
playing in
Champions
that
League.
when we were playing in that FA Cup. I don't remember people saying it's all right if we don't win this.
No, because we are good at winning the FA Cups.
Yeah.
We're
hey
trying to take
guys.
this next step.
I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'll see
All
you
right,
guys
Lonzo.
shortly.
Cheers.
I might do a podcast later on today. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, the race is
All right.
almost on, and we'll
All right, cool.
All right.
Alonzo,
see you guys
All
on.
right, Lonzo.
Next,
we'll finish
See you.
finish up here in the
see you
next
guys.
15 minutes or so, okay?
All
Sam
right.
said, thanks for joining, Alonzo. Sam
See you
said,
guys soon.
normal away allocation is given to Arsenal for the Emirates. Like, Bayern fans will need to sit with Arsenal fans, but those are not allocated to away fans, and they will get beaten up. LOL. There you go. So, it's coming from touts or whatever. Man City defense against Liverpool was so shaky. Kevin De Bruyne, the man, has lost his legs.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he didn't go
he
a
can
full
give
90.
them spurts, I believe, but
Yeah,
he's not gonna be able to hold up at least until he gets his legs back. If he gets
and
his legs back,
I remember in that game against Liverpool, Gary was taken off and was none too happy with
yeah,
Pep Guardiola and the coaches as well.
yeah.
But
I
Pep
mean,
decides,
the draw didn't hurt him as much as him being out for much longer. You know what I mean? Like you can take that risk. Liverpool, when they went to their bench in the FA Cup, that hurt them. Right,
yeah,
probably more than it did. But like City getting the draw, they could have a chance to win it maybe, but it's not as significant. And as Mr. Tom says, check out We All Love Leeds. They'll be chatting
shameless
it up
plug.
about
Have you ever heard of Leeds? Who are they?
Leeds. Aren't
Who
those
are
the
they?
things aren't those the things that you used to like um,
Yeah,
power up stuff? Like
yeah,
aren't those the
Leeds.
Leeds,
Yeah,
right?
you plug
Right.
them into the wall somewhere.
Something like
Okay.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Don't forget that we all love Leeds, and you need to plug them into the wall so you can have light and things like that. Okay. Don't forget. Don't forget your laptop. You have to have the lead to
Yeah, I
plug it
always,
into the
you know,
wall.
I watch you watch many a YouTuber, and for some reason they're always like, I need to plug in my laptop, dude. Like, how many times have people are doing shows every day? Do they not realize that their laptop needs power?
Should be prepared. Be prepared. Leeds could take a long walk off a short pier, but
You
you'll
know,
get electrocuted if you hit water. So be careful. Don't do that. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Leads and water don't mix. Don't be a moron,
There you
Sam.
go. Yeah. What is he saying? What is that all about? That's rude.
I
What did
just
Sam
go to
say?
Leeds Festival. I think way back in the sands of time, Leeds might have played Real Madrid in a game in Europe one time, you know. But there you go. All right, Gary, we're gonna finish up here with one other topic. And Kevin had asked the question earlier. Start of next season, no El Neni, no Reese, no Tavares, Runderson, Sambi, Emil Smith Rowe. Get rid of Ramsdale, rid of Eddie, Partey, and Vieira. It's going to be a lot to do, but a lot of those players don't have a future at Arsenal next season.
Well, all those players potentially don't have not yeah, all of them don't
That's a
have
lot to do, isn't it? You
well,
know what I
it's
mean?
yeah.
2001,
I
yeah,
mean,
we played them when they
if
had
you're
the
not getting
season.
rid of most of those players, then what are you gonna? You're not gonna keep them. They're not playing here. You can loan them out later on or whatever. But like they're not part of this future. So why are we holding on to them? Like you
Yeah,
know,
right. El Neni will be moving on. Reese Nelson probably will find the club. Tavares, a situation will be sorted out. Runnerson is even still, um, is he even
he
like
must be still on
affiliated?
he must be still on the books. I
Is he
guess if
still on
he
the books?
maybe
Sambi's got a good loan at Luton Town going, but it might be difficult to um, recoup what we spent on him. Um, I'm going to skip over Emil Smith Rowe and Ramsdale for a second. Eddie Nketiah, the word has come out recently that he will be moved on, so we are likely to get a decent fee for Eddie, somewhere north of 30 million, I would hope. Thomas Partey probably going to go to the Saudi League, maybe.
mm,
Um, but when it comes to Emil Smith Rowe, I just saw something before we came live here, and Aston Villa are looking for Emil Smith Rowe again, but
yeah,
Arteta's not willing to just let him go.
yeah.
And so we're going to be the Brighton and the Ben White transfer that we're holding our valuation on Emil Smith Rowe to around 50 million
And the
for.
problem is his value has gone down. So what it was the last time a team actually was willing to pay for him, how can it go up?
Well,
Like,
Arteta is willing to keep him on the books, and
which
he
is
will be here next season. He
terrible
could be here
business
next.
because we don't play him. So
What
all you've
he
done
can
is just
play next
lower the
season, Gary.
value,
It
right?
could be an injury thing. We don't know what it is with Emil Smith Rowe. It could be injury,
He's been
right?
on the bench a lot. At some
Yeah.
point, he should be ready to play.
Yeah,
We need players to come in to make a difference. He's not coming in at all.
I think what I'm saying here with Emil Smith Rowe and especially Ramsdale as well, we have valuations for these players. We don't necessarily we need to get tough on, you know, recouping money here. This is kind of the last step in where we've been for the last 4 or 5 years. Now we need to get some serious money for our players. You know,
Well, I believe you're supposed to sell them before. That's the problem. Like if you look at like if your potential is we need a player that can play now. Ramsdale, I'm sorry, not Ramsdale, but Emil Smith Rowe wasn't a player that was going to get the time to get back into form unless he was out on loan,
two
right?
seasons ago, Gary, how valuable was he 2 seasons ago?
Yeah,
So that
when he got the 10 goal contributions, he
that
was
is the
pretty
player.
valuable. But we didn't want to sell him,
No,
and you know what?
no,
You didn't want to sell him, and now look where we are. You see,
nobody wanted to sell him. The fans didn't want to sell him.
but we weren't going to play him. That's my thing. Is
He's
I
got
don't
he's
believe
been
you have to
injured.
play.
He's been injured for a couple of
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah.
So
Like I said, how does his value go up then? You're saying his value is around 50. He was going to be sold for what, 35, and we said no or something like that.
yeah, and
So
I think
how does the value go up to 50? That just doesn't.
well, if you're not willing to let go of a player, an asset like that, and you know he can provide you 10, 12 goals and be a good player for you next season, he, let me ask you this. And Emil Smith Rowe is playing well. Wouldn't he be valuable to Arsenal next season?
Yeah, the part of that whole conversation that you just had there, the question is
Or wouldn't he?
if
Yeah.
Partey is healthy, he'll be our best number. He'll be a number 6 that we're going to hold on to until he retires.
I think there's a
Big
lot
F,
of
right?
players. What I'm saying is I think there's a lot of players on this list that could go before Emil Smith Rowe would go.
Yeah.
You know, the
But
quality.
we need money. That's the thing. We need the money. We're not getting any money for
Yeah,
Reese Nelson, not as much as as Emil Smith Rowe,
correct.
right?
Yeah,
We're not going to get any money for Runes. Runeson's actually a free transfer, so he's gone.
yeah.
But El Neni's he's not gonna get us any money, right?
And we've
Um,
said with Tavares and Sambi, we've had
yeah,
conversations
yeah.
about that. Recoup the 25 million that we spent. Can we
For
do
who?
that?
For who?
Tavares and Sambi. Can we get our money back? Can we get 25 back for both of those players?
I don't believe
Difficult.
so. I don't believe so. I mean, like your highest, the most money you're gonna get back is for like a Ramsdale. For
Yes.
me, Vieira, I don't see it because I don't think he's had enough minutes, and um, Eddie
Cedric.
Nketiah should be, but he's not. He's not part of the squad, so they could use that against us in the negotiations.
He is Eddie's played minutes this
Yeah,
season, you know.
but
So I think we can get
it's
a
as
decent
of
amount
late,
for
it's
Eddie.
the same thing. It's just as of late, he's not been part of a squad. So yeah, it might be fine that he goes, but what money are you thinking to get for Nketiah?
30.
Yeah, I think that's a stretch for me. I think it's going to be tough. So.
Ramsdale about 30 as well.
Yeah, Ramsdale should get he's worth more because he's actually a player who can start and has started in the league for multiple years. And as you
Yeah,
said, his CV will say that he got a team into the Champions League, right? All those
yeah,
things
yeah,
that you want to have for a goalkeeper. He's a
yeah,
shot stopper. He's a really good shot stopper. So that's what you're looking for. Um, so
yeah.
yeah.
Interesting, and
We,
we'll
we
have more
we we
discussion.
keep we sell our starting goalkeepers for really cheap, right?
Yeah.
And then
We've got to get better.
we want to sell our players that we don't even play for top monies, and it doesn't. The math doesn't. The equation doesn't make sense, right? How does that work? We can't sell our starting goalkeepers for what they're worth, but we're going to be able to
Uh,
sell a player who we don't even play,
uh,
who hasn't played for top money.
Runerson is at Copenhagen, contract terminated. So there you go.
Yeah, just it
This
sounds.
Tom,
Yeah, I mean,
this Tom will give us 27.5 million. Gary,
for who?
Leeds, Leeds
He
will
said
pay.
2750, which
No,
sounds
I
like
saw 27 and a
I
half.
don't see an M in anywhere in that. There's no M even in that
I can
sentence.
change that. I can edit that to an
You
M.
can-
He's got a
Yeah,
podcast. He should be good for it, Gary. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I hear you. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm looking. Runeson isn't part of the Arsenal squad, so I don't. I know they might have terminated his contract, but that just means what? He's a free agent, I
Uh,
guess.
and Kedia 15 million. Come
Yeah.
on, Steven, you can do better than that.
Oh, it's not. For me, it's the matter of what is he like you said. What he's worth to us and what he's worth to everybody else is not hasn't been really the same in a lot of situations, right? You know, I, like you sell him when he's got a when you
I'm
can
talking about
he's got
you,
a hat
Tom,
trick,
not
right?
Gary.
So
I'm talking about you, Tom, not Gary.
he's
You're the
got
one
two
who wants to pay
podcasts.
Freddie.
Mm,
He's got 2 podcasts.
I don't know what that means.
Got 2 shows. You got 2 shows. You don't have 2 podcasts.
He's got like how many shows does he have? Right? He did a show last night. He does all these shows. He's got more shows than I do.
He's got a wrestling show and a
Right?
football
Yeah, he's
show
got We Love Lead show. We've got
starting in, well,
a
it's an
Wrestling
hour from now.
Thursday show. He's got 2
Yeah,
shows as well on 2 different channels. That's how big time he is. I can't
yeah.
even create another channel.
Tom has got 65 minutes to the start of his podcast, but do you know how much trading he's got to do in 65 million minutes? He's got to make 65 million
Mm,
in 65 minutes, Gary. You know,
mm,
Tom is just, I can see him on the phone constantly. Trade lead stock right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
all-time high. And Kedia at Brighton would cook. And Kedia at Palace, Leeds, Brighton would cook, you know, 30 million. 30 million Mexican pesos. Coming next year, we all love Tiddlywinks. Have you played Tiddlywinks, Gary? I have.
I don't remember.
I think we've all played Tiddlywinks at some
Something you
point.
do when you're a little kid, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Kepa will be the new manager, decide who plays when. Chelsea can take back Kepa. All right. Anything else to say, Gary? We'll get out of here.
No, no. Just we got what 7 more
7
days until we
days.
play, right?
This
7 days
time
from
next
now, we'll
week.
be sitting here. I think the game will have just ended when we start up here on the
Yeah.
show, and
Yeah.
hopefully we're chatting about another 3 points. That's all.
Hey, it's gonna be. It could be a loss. It could be a draw.
You see,
Could be a
now,
win.
no, we're planning for a win, Ray.
Could be
That's
anything.
how this
Right?
thing works. We don't go into games expecting a loss and thinking about losses. That's not how this thing works. It's not if we're talking about changing the way the team is, how the team has changed. They don't go into games expecting losses. They expect to win every time.
Well, roll me one Kenobi. I love the name of that avatar. Great
Mm-hmm.
show, liked and subbed. Check out Gary.
Yes.
Gary does have also a podcast as well. So if you want to go check out his, call out your credentials, Gary.
So just search DWTT Arsenal. I should pop up, and we do shows tomorrow night. I guess it's 11:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. over here in the States. 11:30 p.m. for you guys across the pond, until you guys decide to catch up and push your clocks ahead. And then
Thanks for
otherwise it's Saturdays. We have our road trip. Mr. Tom was part of that, where we just kind of chat about football and stuff.
It's a little bit more laid back. Tom likes to say that I'm a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, but a little bit more structured. Is that what it is, Gary?
Yeah, you have you have the minute by minute reporting.
Yes. And I like to get in Gary's comments and banter him a little bit.
Yes.
But
You know,
Tom, I can't banter myself while I'm hosting a show. It's kind of difficult. I know you posed that question yesterday, Tom. It's hard to banter yourself when you're doing it. You know what I mean? But
Mr. Tom, shh. No, just kidding.
yeah, if you're in the Premier League, you can
Yeah.
speak, Tom.
No, I didn't say that. Oh, no. See, no, I didn't say that at all.
Leeds are top of their EFL championship, and hopefully they can get there this season into the Premier League at the first attempt back and become the new Norwich City, Tom. Hopefully, you're the new Norwich City.
I don't know if is that what teams strive for? Is to be the new Norwich?
Yeah, because they keep getting the payments, the new Premier League
I
money
don't think that's what
every 2
most
years.
teams want to do. Because then you're saying it's about the money and it's not about the football.
I think it's about the money, Gary.
It's about the football, or else
When
why
team,
we're looking for
well,
trophies at the end of this
I
season,
know,
right?
and that's another conversation. As fans, we're looking for trophies, but clubs want to be in Europe, and the prize money for being in the top four is more than winning the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're the first leads. Okay. Uh, Gary, thanks for dropping by. I do appreciate you each and every
Thanks for
time
having me
you have
on. Yes.
time to talk. We do like to talk Arsenal. Occasionally we fight about it, but Gary doesn't want to admit it, but more often than not, we agree on
No,
many,
okay.
many things.
I was gonna say more often than not, I am right. That's what you meant
He
to
doesn't
say,
want to
right?
admit that either.
No, no. I'll admit that I'm mostly right. Yes, that is true.
Okay. And
I am mostly
I will let you
right.
think that, right, Gary?
You are delusional. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
all
what they
right.
say.
All right, top of the hour, 2 hours in. See if you want to come and see us on Thursday night. Do that as well. Gary, take care. I hope you have
All right.
a good rest of the day,
You too.
and that you never have an intern to train up at work, because I would not want that for
Nobody
you.
listened to whatever the nonsense he just said.
All right, take care, everyone. Uh, yeah, next week, hopefully we're still smiling, right? Take care, everyone. Bye. Come on, you Gunners.